Upper 80s for Saturday. Isolated showers and storms Sunday. High mid-80s, cooler 70s next week. Currently, it's 87.
John Mino and Jim Schmidt.
On Monday's show, we'll welcome Jack Gage from Patriot Racing Project. He'll tell us all about that big project.
Plus, Brian Hinkle joins us from Backyard Brew in our Small Business Spotlight.
Broadcasting live statewide from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay. This is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood.
Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right.
And now, a guy who wanted to be in porn but didn't have the acting chops, Pete Schwaba.
Hey, Wisconsin. Welcome. It is Friday night, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to do a Friday night show. Every night we come out here and we try to do a show conducive to that particular day of the week. And Conrad, I'm just saying, I think we've been nailing Fridays.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's those other 4 days that need a lot of work. But I don't think there's any question about it. This is the show for a Friday night if you are in the greater Wisconsin area. And what a great area to be in. In the summer, it's a Friday night. In the summer, downtown Green Bay is jumping. There is no parking as usual. So that, you know what that tells me, Conrad? That tells me people are having a great time here in downtown Green Bay.
Yes, they are.
And so, yeah, wherever you're listening, wherever you're tuning in from here in the beautiful state of Wisconsin, it is great to have you with me on this Friday night. We've got a fun show planned. Hopefully we'll help you ease into the weekend properly. Comedian John DeCoste is here at 7:35. I've known John for years. He's been in radio. He's done TV. The guy has been everywhere. He's very funny. And I'm most excited to talk to him about a fundraiser he did for me 2 years ago in Marinette for a local football club. I never really got a chance to talk to him after he did that gig. And the crowd was good. They were a little chatty that night. So I'm going to ask John. Hopefully my town of Marinette left a good taste in John's mouth. But it'll be fun. John's a very funny guy. Lots of fun to talk to. And I'm excited to have him on the show tonight at 7:35. And then, Conrad, you know what night it is?
It's Bar Band Friday.
It's Bar Band Friday with our bar band friend, Terry Barband. That's not her name. It's Terry Barr. She every Friday, folks. Terry, she could kick off at 5. You know, she could hit happy hour, have a margarita or a mint julep or a coconut Susie. But no, Terry Barr hangs in there till 8:35 every Friday night so she can come on Nite Lite and bring us new music. And she has done that expertly as long as I've been doing this show. And she'll talk about what they have coming up tomorrow night on Max Inc. Radio, which is 6 to 12 p.m. I'm sorry, 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. every Saturday night. They do a great job. And she's got an old favorite of ours. She's going to be bringing some music from someone we're quite familiar with here at Nite Lite. And that's your show. Brittany, we had Brittany Merlot on. Brittany is still dealing with the effects of... can I talk about this on the air, or is that like a HIPAA infringement somehow? Brittany's under the weather. Let's leave it
She's
at that.
under the weather, yes.
Yeah, that's very well said. Conrad, you should be a press secretary for like a politician. You jumped on that, man. You had the answer right away. No, don't say anything.
I don't think I'd do a good job.
I think you'd be fine. You seen what's out there?
I'd just be like, yeah, you can say that. Sure,
Yeah,
why
go
not?
ahead. Who cares? Get over it. Wow, total bro alert. Did you just see all those dudes walk by?
I did
Oh
not.
my gosh. It is. Those are like bros. Remember that Pat McGann joke? Like guys in their 20s, they're going to go out and crush it.
Yeah.
That's what these guys look like here.
Maybe they're going on a bro date for
Maybe
gelato.
they are. I think maybe they are gelato. Yeah. Dudes, let's meet downtown Green Bay, get some gelato. So yeah, a really fun show tonight. Today is National Beer Day.
It's like international.
Oh, I stand corrected. I would hate to have the beer lobbyists come after me. You're right. International Beer Day. And is it just me, or is it just a coincidence that it's also on National Water Balloon Day? That you could fill water balloons with beer, or you could just get drunk and have a water balloon fight. Either way is great. And then you know what you do after? You have an ice cream sandwich, because it's National Ice Cream Sandwich Day as well. You got all your, that's a lot of fun.
And then you watch a clown movie because it's National Clown Week.
National Clown Week. I don't even know. I don't know how people feel about clowns. Let's do a clowns thing next week. Remind me to do that because I don't know. Where are you at on clowns?
Don't like them.
Yeah.
I never did.
Did you have a bad experience?
I just don't. I think they're kind of scary.
Yeah.
Just the way they look. But
no one did clowns dirty as well as Seinfeld with Crazy Joe Davola. That was like some of the best. He was absolutely insane. He went to Pagliacci the Opera dressed as the sad, tragic clown who knew karate and started just wailing on people. But it is International Beer Day today, folks. So we have a nice, easy question for tonight to get people engaged. What is your favorite beer? Very simple. Join the fun. Text us and let us know. 855-752-4842. What is your favorite beer? 855-75-CIVIC. I am not a beer drinker per se. Doesn't mean I haven't had a ton of beer in my day, especially when I was younger, but I got to go, and I'm probably being influenced tonight because it's summer. Corona with lime.
oh yeah, that's a good one.
It's hard to...
I like Modelo's better than Corona.
You know what? I've had one Modelo in my life, and I'm gonna be very honest. I drank it because I love their commercial. Some guy at a party said, "You know what? I'm gonna try a Modelo. If it tastes half as good as I love those commercials, it's a winner." And it was very good. I just kind of forgot about that. But you can put a lime in that, right?
Yeah, I mean it's basically the same thing. I just
Yeah.
think it has a better, lighter taste to it.
A lighter taste than a Corona.
Sorry, I meant the opposite.
Darker.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind the lighter taste. I like the Spotted Cow too. It has that kind of...
I love Spotted Cow is up there for me for sure.
Yeah.
For national, I'd say Summer Shanty for myself. But international, I'd go Peroni.
I don't even know what that is.
It's
Is that an Italian beer?
It is an Italian. I tried it over there, and I went to this little lunch place kind of, and I had a pizza there, and I had a liter of Peroni.
Wow. I'm glad you said pizza because all I think about when I think of you in Italy is just eating gelato and drinking beer. So
They did have gelato there
and
too.
wine.
Though.
No, I know. And you said it was really good.
But the Peroni, it took a little bit to get through because it was a liter, but
Whoa.
it was big.
But international, that would qualify Corona. Is Modelo American or is Modelo from Mexico? Modelo's Mexico, right?
I believe it's from Mexico. Yeah.
So those have to be international. So I'll go Corona. I'm going to stick with Corona. Maybe a Spotted Cow for the home court advantage. I love the fruity aftertaste.
I did just try this beer. It was a Samuel Adams Summer Ale, and if you like,
Oh, really?
like in between dark and light, that's a really good one.
Sam Adams.
Sam Adams
I thought
Summer
is
Ale.
the typical Sam Adams a little darker?
Yeah,
I thought so.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would say. But this one was a little bit lighter. Still had that kind of darker taste to it. It was kind of hoppy a little bit, but it was
All
really
right.
good.
Now, for me, this is serious inside baseball stuff because with me and beer, it's like I kind of like for the longest time, I would just drink Miller High Life because I love the colors, I love the look of the beer, I love the advertising, I love that it's from Wisconsin. I would just have Miller High Life. Even when Light came out, it was a big deal, and then you got Miller Genuine and all this. I stuck with the champagne, and I would smell the cork every night after I pulled it off.
I did not like it. I tried it a
Miller
couple
High Life?
times. I just couldn't do it. I don't know.
So, if you had to go domestic for one of the more popular beers, what are you doing?
I'd do a Coors Light
Okay.
because when it is cold, it does taste really, really good.
That's very light though, right? Like
Yeah,
watery
very-
almost. That has that reputation.
My brother always jokes with me that I'm just drinking water. It's Coors Light or something like that.
What about like Pabst?
I don't mind Pabst.
Yeah.
Pabst is pretty good. From where I grew up, the big thing was Busch Light.
See, that's another one. That's like a step above like Platts or something, isn't it? Or like
It's not great.
Rhinelander beer, like one of those.
I tried a Blatz once and I hated it.
I don't know how you mess up. I mean, you've got to make it. You got to put it in the ballpark of good taste. My uncle used to work for Schlitz. My uncle Pat Murphy worked for Schlitz, and I think he worked for Pabst as well. So I kind of had an affinity for those, even though I'm not a beer guy. But I think the first beer I ever tasted was Schlitz when I was like 12. My mom gave me a sip because I had just done a lot of drugs and she wanted to calm me down. But anyway, what is your favorite beer, folks? We want to open this up and let you participate in Nite Lite tonight. Tell us what your favorite beer is. It is International Beer Day, so you don't have to stick to the domestics, folks. We are here to discuss. So the other thing we have coming up in just a few minutes, folks, we did a contest last night, and the question was, what was the question, Conrad?
What is the best music video?
What is the best? Yeah, it was in honor of MTV's launch. What was your favorite, or what was the best music video in your opinion? So anyone who responded to that text message or to that question via text or on the app is eligible for a drawing. We have a winner. We're going to announce it at 7:20 in just a few minutes. So be sure and be listening when we announce our winner for our first big text line question.
Yeah,
we have great engagement. I love the Nite Lite listeners love to get involved in the show, and kind of no matter what we're talking about. I love when people chime in, whether it's the question of the night or something else. It doesn't matter. It's just great to have people participating. So, by the way, the question last night, best music video. I saw this when I got home. Vincent Price, who does the voice at the end of Thriller, that and he has this great horror voice. He was in a ton of horror films. He was offered back end a share of the profits for participating in Michael Jackson's video Thriller, or 20 grand up front. He took the 20 grand. And that's like, I mean, Thriller might be the best-selling album of all time, but either way, it made a boatload of money. Let's go to the Google for that. I think it's Thriller. And he passed that up. Yeah, Thriller. The number one album of all time, has sold more than 120 million copies, making it the best-selling album of all time. And he took 20 grand. If he had participated in profit sharing, it would have been 22 grand. I'm kidding. Probably would have been, I don't know, millions. I don't think Vincent Price was starving anyway. But that's a tough one. That's the kind of money that's generational, and you lay in bed at night and just kind of roll over angry a bunch of times because you made that decision. Oh my gosh. That's terrible. All right, what's your favorite kind of beer, folks? Let us know. Text us on the app. If you haven't downloaded the app, folks, you got to download the app. It's so easy. Conrad, how can people watch the radio?
Yeah, we're on Facebook under Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba, or WGBW, YouTube, WGBW, or Civic Media, and on Twitter or X, Civic Media.
Let us know. Give us a like if you're there, or a follow. We'd appreciate that. Yeah. Great to have you with us on this Friday night. John DeCoste is here at 7:35. We've got, coming up next, we're going to talk Polaroid One Step, Hulk Hogan, Cuba Gooding. Lots to cover. This is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Listening to the talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Devil's Advocates radio show.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and connected to your local community. Here's Terry Barr with the Civic Media Radio Network.
Strolling the fair without a care. It's the theme of the historic Winnebago County Fair in Oshkosh. It started in 1855, but always offers something new. Lexi Novak is fairest of the fair and tells me why you should join her at the Sunnyview Expo Center this week.
I think people should attend the fair, not just for a night out with their family and just to enjoy things, but also to get a better in-depth view of their community and the people who are around. It's fun, family-friendly. There's so many activities for you to do, and the Winnebago County Fair makes a huge effort to keep admission prices low.
Main gates open at 9 daily. Find times for exhibits, shows, midway, and carnival rides at Winnebago County Fair online.
in a few minutes. The very funny and talented John DeCoste. He will be joining us at 7:35. We'll be talking comedy. We've got some texts coming in on the text line regarding our question of the night. What is your favorite beer? It is International Beer Day, ladies and gentlemen. Anna checks in from the 608 and says, hi, Pete and Conrad. My favorite beer is Spotted Cow. You know what's interesting? We should ask. I'm just guessing that most of the people that would answer that question would say Spotted Cow. It's crazy popular. It's really good beer. Even for a non-beer drinker like myself, I like Spotted Cow, especially in the summer. But I wonder what these people drank. Anna, what did you drink before Spotted Cow was available? Because Spotted Cow's like, what, 20, 25 years old?
I actually don't know. I'd have to go to the Google. Yeah.
Let me know, because I'm curious about that. And Carla checks in from the 608. I like Busch Light. Runs in the family, Conrad. Because it's refreshing, and I live in a circus town with retired clowns.
Yeah, that's the Ringling Circus.
That's right. Oh, my God. All right, we got to do something on clowns next week.
So Spotted Cow was first brewed in 1997.
So we were close. That's 27, 27 years. Wow. That is like a meteoric rise. Because they've been popular for easily 20 years, I would say. I've been hearing about Spotted Cow.
Yeah.
I remember hearing, you can't get it in California. And then I visit the Midwest, and it's like, oh, no, you can't even get it in Chicago. I'm like, what is the deal? Why do they only want people in Wisconsin to have their beer? But it's like a genius marketing strategy. You have to cross state lines to get it.
Yeah.
You feel like a bootlegger. You take it out of the state like a thief in the night. I mean, it's pretty cool.
You know, another beer that's like that is Yingling.
Never heard of it.
It's a Southern beer. And my brother used to live down in Florida for work. Every single time he'd come up, he'd bring Yingling with him.
I got to tell you, that sounds made up.
It's really good. It's really good.
Why is it good? Like, what is it better than Spotted Cow?
No.
Okay.
Nothing compares.
Don't say
to
that
Spotted
with our
Cow.
audience. Yeah, we have people outside protesting. If that was... So Aunt Carla likes Busch Light. She says Conrad's grandpa drank Miller High Life and his grandma's drank Pabst. Oh.
Yep.
Both Wisconsin beers. Gotta love the home court. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I like them. Miller High Life is just packaged well. I don't know if it's the colors or the color of the beer with the glass bottle, but it made you thirsty when you looked at it. It was great. Tom from New Berlin says my favorite beer is the next one. I actually had to think about that, Tom.
That's great.
Tom is not picky. Todd Michaels sent a picture in. I assume that is Todd. Yes, Todd. And his dad and sister. And for a minute there, I did not see the girl in the photo. I thought he meant the sister was Schlitz. And he was wolfing down like he had this great relationship with Schlitz. Todd is drinking a Schlitz in the photo. Todd Michaels, ladies and gentlemen, the producer of Mino and the Mayor in the Morning. Am I saying that right? Mino? That's so many M's. Like every time I say Mino and the Mayor, I get...
You got it.
But they don't say in the morning. It's just Mino and the Mayor.
Yeah.
People know when they're on. I don't have to say the morning. Damn it, Todd. Todd looks pretty comfortable with that beer. And I would say Todd is maybe a year. And his sister's looking up at him like he's hogging the beer. And I love that Todd had this at the ready. He heard the question, bam, phone, text. He didn't have to search through the cloud or dig through an old box of family pictures. He had this. He's obviously very proud of it. Well done, sir. That's great. Conrad's mom checks in Blue Moon, Spotted Cow, or I like to try different craft beers. See, a lot of beer drinkers are like that. You go to the bar and they've got that whole tray with the different, and I just, no, that's seriously.
Yeah.
Like, people are really into that stuff. And
what's really good is Blue Moon, and you put an orange in it.
Yep.
So good.
I've done that. That is good. That's very tasty. Great answer, Paul. And then the 608, on the same album, Eddie Van Halen didn't get a dime for playing the guitar solo on Beat It. Wow, I find that hard to believe. You know what, though? Like, Eddie Van Halen just seems like a cool guy. Probably loved Michael Jackson. They were probably at parties together, whatever. It was probably like a professional courtesy. Yeah, man, whatever you need. But that's nuts that he did not get a dime for that. It's a big part of the song. From the 262, best brewery is Raised Grain Brewery. Best beer is Baltic Porter by Raised Grain Brewery. Interesting. I am not familiar with the Raised Grain brewery. Thank you, 262. You heard of that? It's kind of a cool name.
I haven't. No.
Steve from Florida says, where did Steve's text go? There it is. Spotted Cow is not a favorite of mine. Too heavy.
I could see that.
I
But
always think of it as a kind of a lighter beer, but again, I don't know much about beer. I might be way off of it.
I think it draws the line.
Huh.
For a lot of people who only like light beer, I don't know if they're going to go towards it,
Interesting. Okay. Anna says, before I discovered Spotted Cow, I liked Dos Equis. Yeah, Dos Equis is good. That's another good beer. Is that a Mexican beer as well?
Yeah.
Wow. Some good beer in Mexico, which is weird because Mexico is not known for its water, but to put out that's 3 great beers we've heard just tonight that we can attribute to Mexico. Jameson from the 814. Oh, here we go. You'll like this. Pennsylvania here. Yingling in Pottsville is the oldest operating brewery in the United States. The tour is awesome, and you can see the caves in the mountain where they would keep the barrels cool. Oh, I love stories like that. That's so great. But it's just an average American lager. It's nothing special, even if the locals will fight you to death. There's a reason Jameson is texting a Wisconsin radio show and not one in his home state of Pennsylvania because he doesn't want an angry mob at his door. All right, keep those texts coming. Casey's watching on the stream, says, always enjoy the show. My favorite beer. Thank you, Casey, by the way, for saying that. My favorite beer, Fantasy Factory from Carbon 4 Brewing here in Madison. Fantastic logo on the can. A cat with a gun riding a unicorn. Wow, that sounds busy. Great beer, great logo. Cheers. I agree. That sounds pretty cool. Have you heard of that, Conrad?
I haven't.
We got to check that out. Let's Google
Yeah.
it. Let's see if we can get a photo and we can post it up and show it to
Oh,
people.
actually, the Fantasy Factory sounds familiar. It does.
Uh-huh.
I actually remember seeing it now at one of my local stores. Now that I see the unicorn, I'm reminded of it completely, and I will find it.
There is a Fantasy Factory, not to be confused with the Gentleman's Club. I'm joking.
Were you waiting for it?
You thought you just like incriminated yourself. All right, so we've got a winner last night, right? Let's read that.
Yes.
What are we doing here? We got a winner.
Yep.
Let's not make them wait any longer. Who's our winner, Conrad?
Well, we have Tammy from Oshkosh.
Tammy from Oshkosh, ladies and gentlemen, is our winner of 2 tickets to a Chula Vista resort. I think the Lazy River's included. Tommy Bartlett Water Show and the military boat vehicle that could be dangerous, but it probably isn't. Tammy, congratulations on the first Nite Lite Thursday night giveaway from our question of the night. We're going to do this more often, folks. We're going to do this every Thursday. Every Thursday, we're going to give away something cool here on Nite Lite. Tammy is our inaugural winner. Let's see if Tammy, call in if you can. We'd love to talk to you and congratulate you in person. I cannot think of a better winner, even though I don't know Tammy personally. Does that make sense, Conrad?
Makes sense.
Okay. John DeCoste is coming up next on Nite Lite. Congratulations to Tammy. Keep your texts coming, folks. It's a Friday fun. It's a Bar Band Friday on Nite Lite. I'm Pete Schwaba. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Teardrop start, and it breaks my heart. When a teardrop falls, I wanna cry, cry, cry along. When you're feeling blue, I'm waiting just for you.
The talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. It's pretty much official now that she's got a majority of convention delegate votes cast online.
I am honored to be the presumptive Democratic nominee for President of the United States.
Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign announcing they've also hired some of the top advisors and strategists from President Obama's campaigns. The Pentagon says it'll move a fighter jet squadron to the Middle East and maintain an aircraft carrier in the region over higher tensions between Israel, Hezbollah, Hamas, and more. Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh.
Secretary Austin highlighted that further escalation is not inevitable and that all countries in the region would benefit from a de-escalation in tensions, including through completing a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal.
Heavy rain coming to South Florida. Flood prep's underway. A big storm over Cuba could become a named tropical storm, forecasters say. Wall Street indexes closed sharply lower. This is ABC News.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
Civic Media News, I'm Ella Saff. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Wisconsin's home energy rebates aim to make homes more energy efficient. The program launched Friday. Households in the program, sponsored by the U.S. Department of Energy, can save up to $14,000 for upgrades. The program should save people $1 billion a year and support 50,000 jobs. If there's a collector in your family, they may get 15 minutes of TV fame. Savannah Tomei Olson explains.
Listen up, especially if they're fans of the History Channel. The crew from American Pickers is headed to Wisconsin. However, they haven't planned their trip yet. They need to decide where to go. They're looking for people with extraordinary collections of antiques, which, if you've seen the show, sometimes looks like garages full of stuff or junkyards. If that sounds like someone in your life, they want to hear from you. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson.
And that's what you need to know. I'm Ella Saff, and this is Civic Media News.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
Civic Media News, I'm Ella Saff. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Wisconsin's home energy rebates aim to make homes more energy efficient. The program launched Friday. Households in the program, sponsored by the U.S. Department of Energy, can save up to $14,000 for upgrades. The program should save people $1 billion a year and support 50,000 jobs. If there's a collector in your family, they may get 15 minutes of TV fame. Savannah Tomei Olson explains.
Listen up, especially if they're fans of the History Channel. The crew from American Pickers is headed to Wisconsin. However, they haven't planned their trip yet. They need to decide where to go. They're looking for people with extraordinary collections of antiques, which, if you've seen the show, sometimes looks like garages full of stuff or junkyards. If that sounds like someone in your life, they want to hear from you. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson.
And that's what you need to know. I'm Ella Saff, and this is Civic Media News.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Heat and humidity continues this weekend before cooler and less humid weather arrives next week. Clear and a low in the mid-60s tonight. Sunny, hot, and humid in upper 80s for Saturday. Isolated showers and storms Sunday. High mid-80s, cooler 70s next week. Right now we're at 86.
Do you know or work with kids who have special healthcare needs? Help them live their best lives. Contact Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network. Our specialists will connect you with services in your area. Wisconsin Wayfinder is free and confidential. Call 877-947-2929 or visit dhs.wi.gov/WISCWAY. Connect today. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Ever tried balancing a dozen eggs in one hand while hopping on one foot? Or maybe juggling cats while riding the unicycle? Sounds ridiculous, right? But guess what? That's exactly what texting while driving is like. Your human brain only has the capacity to focus on one thing at a time. So when you're behind the wheel, give driving your undivided attention.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show on Monday, we will be recapping every
Missed exciting entertainment with Pete? Listen to Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, civicmedia.us, or wherever you get your podcasts. Once again, here's your host, Pete Schwaba.
This is what I love about doing the show where we do it. I'm an hour from my home with these huge windows looking out into the street, and the amount of people I've seen this summer from Marinette. It's like everybody road trips to Green Bay on the weekends. I just saw the girl that gives me my prescriptions at the pharmacy walking past, and I said hello. And it's like, and now I'm supposed to go back on the radio. This girl knows every pharmaceutical I've ever purchased. You know how bonding that is, Conrad?
I feel like it is.
Yeah. Just get my refills right here at WGBW. Okay, great to have you with me. This is a Friday night version of Nite Lite. We are broadcasting statewide from beautiful downtown Green Bay this summer. A summer Friday night in Green Bay, right on the river here. Absolutely beautiful. And right now, I'm excited to welcome my next guest. He's a comedian I've known for a very long time. We were both based in Chicago, and we have many mutual friends, and he's a friend of mine as well. And I want to ask him, I'm going to ask him how that fundraiser went, because I never really talked to John after this. And I teased this earlier, Conrad. I know people are like, did John enjoy the Marinette fundraiser for the local football club?
I'm sure they're all
That's a hell of a
wondering that.
tease. I mean, let's bring John in now. John, how are you?
Pete, how are you?
I'm well. John DeCoste, ladies and gentlemen, first timer on Nite Lite. It's great to have you, buddy.
Yeah, before we get started, I have 2 prescriptions for Pete Schwaba.
Oh man,
I don't know what. I'm just delivering them, so don't go by me.
do they still do that where you live? Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, they do actually. They do. They do.
I still
You'd think
get-
they would do that in Marinette, but they don't. They do it here, so that doesn't make any sense.
You know what? They actually might do that in Marinette, John. I think like for older people, I only get milk delivered and the daily paper. Other than that, I
One, I
typically
didn't know
do.
newspapers existed. 2, milk.
Yeah.
I used to get milk delivered all the time, but that stopped when right after World War II.
You know when it stopped for me? When I stopped tipping. So neither one of us is that old, John. Let's not date ourselves. I know you're a little older than me, but you have a youthful. You look. I bet most people would think you are younger than me because you have like this. I wouldn't say immature, but you have a youthful face. Have you heard that?
No, it's immature. It's immature. It's the cherub cheeks and the overweight cheeks.
The cherub cheeks.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's
Hey,
on the website, Cherub Cheeks. That's actually my name now, my stage name.
that could be what has put you over the top with various club bookers. Like, well, that's a good look for a comedian. Let's get old Cherub CC in here and see how he does.
CC, let's get him in. Let's get CC in. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
So the last time I saw you, John, and
Yeah.
thank you for being on the show, by the way. This is great to have you.
No, thank you for asking me. This is always fun. This is fun.
Yeah, you're no stranger to radio, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But you had I booked you about a year and a half ago, maybe now, at a local football fundraiser up in Marinette for the Gridiron Greats or something like that they're called, and you came up, and that is one of my favorite nights every year because I get to bring an old friend up to do stand-up in the town I live in now, and we get to hang out. I feel like a comic again. So it was great having T.R. Banker came with you,
Yep.
and it was great to talk to you guys. What did you think of that gig? How was it?
You know, I had done another show for you many years ago.
Yeah.
It was in a hotel or something
The
like
Best
that.
Western. Yeah.
No, it was one-on-one. You invited me to your room.
Oh, that's right.
Am I wrong on this?
It didn't pay well,
I
John.
went to therapy to work it out. But anyway,
You were a trooper.
I had a great time, and I'm not even kidding. Those are so hit and miss, but you know, I gave you a lot of credit because I told this to Tim at the time, Tim Banker. I said, you know, Pete's got this set up. It's not going to be a bad move. It's not. He knows what bad shows are. He gets that, and it was a lot of fun. That crowd was awesome.
Yeah.
I think I ended up doing like 55 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, you were
You
supposed
don't
to do
wanna
an hour
see
and a half, but that's okay.
I did an hour and a half.
No, I said you're supposed to do an hour and a half, but I appreciated the 55 minutes.
You know what? I pulled a Kenny Severa. I apologize. Nobody will know what that means except you and I, but that's okay. No, I had a great time. I thought the people were so nice. They stuck with us from the beginning. You know what? Pete, kudos to you because you opened that show, and I know that the people have seen you before, but I have not seen you perform in a long time, and you rocked it. That was more fun than me doing my show is watching you, and I'm not stroking you. Like that's what I enjoy. So that was good.
It's always more fun to watch, rather than slag through your own act, watch another comic that you think is funny. But I love too, though, that you said, and Pete, bad crowds. So
right, yeah. I didn't mean that in a bad way.
Sadly, that's true.
But it's true. Yeah, we've been through the ringer. We know. We know the shows that are not going to work. And,
absolutely.
I book stuff here in Chicago, and I hope that people trust me that I would never set them up in a bad place.
Do you
So
have?
that was good. I had a great time. The people were so nice.
Yeah.
They were so friendly. That was good.
It's usually fun. Once in a while, the noise level can get a little loud. Not from heckling, just people, when they drink, and that's kind of a fun-loving crowd. But for the most part, they're very good crowds. When you book gigs, John,
yeah,
do you come at it from a standpoint where, like, well, I've been booked, I'm a comedian. Does that translate into how you treat comedians, or do you see it from the other side and you're like, oh my God, comedians are terrible?
You know what? I see it both ways, and you're absolutely right. I have found that I'm like, wow, I have a lot more sympathy for bookers because comedians can be, I just want to go, really? That's really, But all in all, I just book. It's all about booking nice people. It's funny and nice. I can't have anybody there who's going to be a problem. I would assume that when you booked me, there wasn't any concern like, oh, I hope the cause doesn't flip out.
Right. No, not at all.
Doesn't go nuts. Those are the things that I like. I've had, but I try to, I think I respect them when I book it. I'm nice. I don't assume anything. I'm not entitled to anything. Here's the money. Here's the time. Here's what you need to do. Please do it. And they always do. I've been very fortunate. So
that's great to hear. And so where do you work typically now, John? You're based in Chicago. Do you come up to Wisconsin often? Are you primarily working just in the Chicago area?
No, I've been with the Funny Bones since '87.
Oh my gosh.
And Dave Stroop, who books all the Bones, and I've known he's one of my best friends. So that might be the reason that I get booked. But I still do about 10 to 12 Funny Bones a year.
Okay.
I got about 10 10 or 15 corporate shows that I've been doing on a consistent basis. And then locally I do comedy as well, and I book stuff and we do theater shows. We do theater shows that I produce.
Oh yeah,
I put them together as well. So I keep much busier than I should be for my age. I really mean that. But it's fun.
You love doing it, right? So I mean, it's like, what else are you gonna do? I mean, some people like retirement, but as far as I'm concerned, like if I can write funny stuff or perform somehow, that's just something you can always. I mean, look at Bob Newhart just died, and yes, I'm comparing both of us to Bob Newhart, John, but this is something.
I was going to say, Pete, no, don't go there. Yeah. But you know what? It's funny, and I was going to ask you this because I remember that night that we worked together at the fundraiser. You were kind of working out some stuff.
Yeah.
You had written, you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, and that's the part I really miss. Zanies here in Chicago has a new material night, and I do that about 3 or 4 times a year, where I just go up and I'm doing 10 minutes of brand new stuff. I don't care how it goes. I'm plowing through this. I've got one coming up, I think, in August, and that is fun because it's like, wow, I still know how to put this together. I still can do this.
Yeah, right.
Instead of going through the motions, which we all tend to do after 42 years.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did I say that out loud?
We'll get to that too. Yeah, but that's great. And it's weird, like for that fundraiser, I just opened for you guys. I haven't done stand-up I really only did stand-up full-time for like 8 years. Now, when I moved, it was harder to go on the road, and I thought I got lucky and got some other things going. But when I do stand-up now, I actually get nervous, John, and I don't like that gig where I saw you and Marinette. That same crowd pretty much comes out every year. So I have to have some different stuff. But when you don't go up all year and you have new jokes, it's really a roll of the dice,
Well, but I think that's what I was so impressed about, because I never did understand. There are local comics here in Chicago who don't do it that often, and they plug in, and it kind of shows. And it's always like, I have been doing it. If I've had 2 weeks off, that's long.
Wow. Yeah.
In all these years, if I've had 2 weeks off, that's a long time. For you to just pick up and do that, I'm not kidding. It was really good. And plus I've been a big fan of yours. You're always one of the funny ones.
Oh, well, thank you, John.
We talked about, I talked to Toomey today, as a matter of fact. I told him I was doing the show, and then we were like, it's like, oh, Pete Schwaba, we love Pete Schwaba. Pete's so good. Pete's funny. This is good. So, yeah, I think the first time I met you, I don't know what year you started, but I think I met you in 94. 93?
Yeah, I started in like 90, fall or spring of 90, I want to say.
Okay, that's probably, yeah, because I remember, weren't you part of that strike against Zanies or something?
Yes, I got sort of drafted into it. I think the other guys that were the catalysts, none of them, I don't think, were native Chicagoans at the time. So I think that's why they asked me. But whatever. I thought, yeah, this is ridiculous. They keep cutting the money.
Right.
Sure, we stood up, made a stand, and maybe stop the bleeding for a little while. But there's only so much you can do.
I know. Well, and I always left. I don't know if we ever talked about this, but at that time, I was probably headlining maybe 40% of the time, featuring 60.
Yeah.
That split, and then with Zanies, I was pretty much headlining, and then the owners of Zanies and the booker Bert Haas sat me down, and they said, "Hey, we have an idea. You have a 2-year-old. We want to go back to house MCs."
Oh,
yeah. And I'm like, okay, and we want to give you a month at a time. 2 times at each club, or once, whatever it is. And
yeah,
it's like 4 months a year. And I just laughed because I looked over them at the table and I said, I know exactly what you're doing. You just kicked out 16 comics. I'm taking over for 16 comics, but I took it because it was brilliant.
You were a scab. You were a scab, John.
Oh no, that's why I was on your show today. I'm like, I want to let everybody know. I was very proud to be. I was cherub cheek scab.
I want to rub this in. No, it was weird because I remember that when, the other 3 guys that kind of did that with me, and whatever, I think everybody agreed. Nobody wants the money cut, but it was like, well, we'll do what we can. We sat down with the Zanies owners and Bert. I always liked Bert. That was kind of my home club. He didn't like it when you went and worked other places, though, which I found out after I took a couple gigs. And whatever, we eventually figured it out. But he offered that to me, and I go, Bert, how would it look if I took house MC work after I was one of the guys? And he goes, well, the other guys are taking it. I'm like, well, that's fine, but I can't. I just felt like, and I was moving soon anyway. It wasn't like I was a hero or anything. I did feel weird taking it. But if I were you were one of Bert's guys too. I would have taken it immediately.
I had been with Zanies at that point for, I don't know, almost 14 years, 12 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it made sense, and I knew what they were doing.
Right.
Did not know, because we had talked about who they were going to offer it to. They had some other ideas, and I think they specifically chose you because of that. They were like, well, we'll show them. And so, more power to you that you didn't say yes.
Listen, I think what we're trying to get at is here. Do you know what happened to Jimmy Hoffa? That's what I want to take away from this conversation, John.
Yeah, he's house emceeing this week. It's weird.
I'm glad Bert didn't make me disappear. All right, John DeCoste is here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He's a comedian. He has been at it for a long time. We're going to talk about some memories with John, some career highlights, and I want to ask you, John, coming up next, what it's like opening and doing audience warm-up, because I've heard those are great gigs, but I want to hear it from you because you've done your share of that too. So we'll do that next. This is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Only lover I'm ever gonna need, a soft, sweet little girl's talk. You. Dynamite, sentimental, free bed, flying with the best. Little guns outside of flower woods, trying out his attitude on the cuts. Papa's on a car.
To the talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Todd Allball Show.
This history can't be denied. Wisconsin is the home of the hamburger. About 30 minutes west of Green Bay, you'll find the city of Seymour, where in the 1880s, young Charlie Nagreen pushed his food cart to the fair. The 15-year-old planned to sell round balls of beef to visitors, but it didn't quite catch on. Can you guess the surprising reason why? The answer coming up. Every summer, the home of the hamburger celebrates its history in a huge way with Burger Fest in Seymour. There's a 200-pound burger on the grill, a bun, run, ketchup slide, and of course, a burger eating contest. So did you guess why Charlie's first beef recipe didn't work out? Well, as the story goes, visitors to the fair wanted to walk around. Charlie realized he needed to smash his beef ball between two pieces of bread to be able to eat it on the go. Charlie's hamburger, a huge success, making Seymour the home of the
You've seen her dressed in blue. See the sky in front of you. And her face is like a sail, white, so fair and pale. Have you seen a lady?
The 773 says Pliny? The Elder by Russian River Brewery. One of the top 10 beers in the country. I think I'm missing part of this from the 773. Conrad, does that make sense to you? Have you heard of that beer?
Pliny the Elder by I had to read it again.
It's got to be a typo because it sounds like a terrible beer.
I'll go to the Google and do some research.
See what you can find out. 773, we'd love to hear what that actually is, unless that's right. Jim from Appleton says, my favorite import beer is Guinness Extra Stout. My favorite craft beer is Lady Luck by Carbon 4. My favorite old school beer is Stroh's. Well, thanks, Jim. It doesn't sound like you've really looked into this much, but I appreciate that. That is an in-depth answer.
So the
as
Pliny
usual from Jim
is Double India Pale Ale.
So that's the real name.
Yes. Yep.
Look at that. All right. I'm not surprised I didn't know what that was. I am surprised you didn't. Tom from New Berlin says, Pete, does he fill your cannabis prescription, a.k.a. weed, tender rhymes with bartender? My pharmacist? No, I don't do the, I've never been. John, are you a drug guy? Do you do a lot of drugs, John? Is that a personal question?
I will right after the show.
He's counting the minutes.
I wasn't going to start, but I was waiting for something to get me going, and this is it.
That Zany Stock did it. No, I didn't. Weed is not legal in Wisconsin. We're like surrounded by all these other slightly more progressive states when it comes to weed, and we can't do that here. So, Tom in New Berlin, I do not condone that sort of behavior. John DeCosta is here, ladies and gentlemen. He is a comedian based in Chicago, a good friend of mine. He's been at this for a long time. You said 42 years, John.
Yeah, 42
That's
years.
really cool. You started in the 80s. How is it different, like going on a stage now, let's say in a city like Chicago, as opposed to 42 years ago? Are you seeing different crowds? Have things changed in that time?
Yeah, I think they did. Back in 82, it's funny. We didn't really have open mics in 82. I auditioned at a local club. The first time I went up on stage, I auditioned and they hired me.
Wow, nice.
But here's the thing: there were only about 30 comics in Chicago at that time.
Jeez.
So the competition wasn't there, and you were also playing. I think Larry Reeb, Uncle Larry.
Sure.
Larry put it best. He said at that time, it was like jazz clubs. They were coming out to see comedy, and they would pack those places. And even though we weren't that good, we were doing really well. You would find out how bad you were the minute you went out of town.
Well, all right, so let me ask you. Well, I remember around 95, it was shortly before I moved to LA, and my buddy Pete Lipsy said, hold my, he was locking his apartment door. I was just walking with him to his car, and he said, hold my bumper stickers. He had just started selling bumper stickers, and he felt weird about it. And I was like, I kind of gave him a hard time. Oh my gosh, now with social media, people are selling merch like there is no tomorrow. It's totally accepted. Do you think, how do you feel about, like, have you embraced social media, John, or selling stuff like that? Or are you still kind of doing it the way you used to?
No, I didn't even try. How sad is that? That it was beyond me from day one. And I've sort of acquired all these relationships, so I haven't needed it.
Yeah.
I make a website, and, I did try Instagram a little bit. Never tried Twitter. What is it, X now?
Yeah.
But as far as the merchandise thing, I did sell a DVD, which I just cracked me up because I hated hawking that.
Yeah.
Like I hated that. That was not in my. But I would just tell people, because I don't know if people know this. I'm giving away, although nobody sells a DVD or CD anymore. It's like ridiculous.
Please tell me you would set up show. I would love it if you still tried to do that. I've got a CD-ROM after the show.
Well, the sad part is I still know a couple of people that do, and that's so embarrassing. I can't say it. But I would just tell them, give me what you want. Just give me whatever you think you want to give me for this. And it always worked out for me. I would always had more money. You know, they had an average of $10 a CD because it costs you less than $2.
Right.
You know? And I didn't care. And I'm like, here, let's go. And I always came out ahead because somebody would give me a 20 and somebody would give me a 50. I remember in Kansas City, I sold like 50 CDs, and I don't even know. I had like $700, and I go, this is crazy. And then it gets good to you because you're like, wow, that's a lot of extra money.
Yeah, right. Then all of a sudden you make peace with it. Yeah.
I sell prescription drugs.
Prescription, wink, wink. So you've done a lot of opening, John, for like the Jenny Jones show and some of these. I think you had Jerry Springer on there, Rosie O'Donnell, Oprah. What are those? I've heard, like, I've been to a couple tapings like of sitcoms, and you know, I've heard those are such great gigs because they pay well, but it seems like a lot of work for the comic. Did you enjoy that? And are the gigs as good as everybody says they are?
You know, I never did a sitcom. I only did talk shows. So, do you remember Diana Limo?
Sure.
Okay, Diane was the one who actually got me in on that because she was hired by the Jenny Jones people, and she said, you know, I can't do this every week. Let me bring in my friend John, and we'll just split this time. We'll work it out. And I thought it was great.
Yeah.
You know, because you just went out and you opened up. Jenny Jones at the beginning was a little crazy because they wanted you to go out there for every commercial. They didn't really have it down. And you're just out there. It was, you know, the tapings would last 3 hours for a show. Once they got into stride, we did it real time. And you just open up with 10 minutes and you could talk to people and goof around. And it was fun. And the pay was great. It was during the day.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
I would
nice
work Monday,
too.
Tuesday, and Wednesday, 2 shows a day. And I was probably bringing home about $1,800 a week.
Nice.
That's before I even got to comedy at night.
Right.
And Jerry Springer came into town. This was at NBC Towers downtown in Chicago. And they needed warm-ups. So they altered the show. So it was 9 o'clock Jenny Jones, 10 o'clock Springer, 11 o'clock Jenny Jones, 1 o'clock Springer. And we would just go back and forth and double that money. It was ridiculous. And then when that ended in 94, 95, I can't remember. And then Oprah, some of her people came over, or some people went from that show, Jenny's show, to her show and recommended me. I didn't do it all the time, though, because it all depended on the subject matter.
Yeah.
But Oprah was great, and the money was even better. Just not as many shows. And that lasted for about 10 years. And then Rosie took over for Oprah. And Rocky Laporte, our buddy Rocky Laporte.
Oh, yeah.
They offered it to him, and Rocky goes, hey, I don't think I can do it. It's not what I do.
John, you're a pretty big guy. You probably could have bounced for the Springer show, I would imagine, after your set was done.
I did that.
He
I
needed.
did that.
Hey, can you hang around for a few minutes through the news?
I'm here.
Love to keep talking to you for a little bit. All right, fantastic. John DeCosta's here. It's a Nite Lite Friday night. It's a Terry Bar Band Friday night. Terry's coming by with new music soon. We'll be right back with more with John DeCosta after award-winning news here at Civic Media.
To the talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for Matinee on Air.
Todd Albaugh.
Hey, everybody, join us next time. We'll take a look back at the news of the weekend. Has Kamala Harris picked her VP, or is it still to come? Find out Monday.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays noon till 2.
Hi, this is Jim Schmidt, your former mayor of Green Bay. You know, I've always cared about local issues. I still do. Join me on my new show, Lean Local, here on WGBW. I'll interview community leaders and elected officials, discuss the economy and development projects, and we'll talk about the future of education here in Greater Green Bay. As they say, all politics is local. So join me for Lean Local, Sunday at 1 p.m. on the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 WGBW.
This is your hometown radio, refreshed, keeping you informed, entertained, and connected locally across the Civic Media Network. You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW 1590 AM Denmark, W250 CV Green Bay, and always streaming on the Civic Media app.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. Vice President Kamala Harris has a majority from online delegate voting to be the Democratic presidential nominee, say Democratic Party leaders in a conference call the VP.
The tireless work of our delegates, our state leaders, and staff has been pivotal in making this moment possible.
Harris's campaign hiring top advisors and strategists from the Obama campaigns, according to sources familiar. Because of higher tensions between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Iran, the Pentagon says it's moving a fighter jet squadron to the Middle East and will maintain an aircraft carrier in the region. Admitting the Trump rally shooting was a failure, the new acting head of the Secret Service, Ronald Rowe.
The sole responsibility of our agency is to make sure our protectees are never put in danger. We fell short of that in Butler.
Butler, Pennsylvania. Those at fault will be held accountable, he says. This is ABC News. It's a big win for the NFL and a loss for many fans after a late June jury verdict was tossed out today.
A jury awarded NFL Sunday Ticket subscribers $4.7 billion in a class action lawsuit finding the NFL violated antitrust laws in distributing out-of-market games on its premium subscription service. The lawsuit covering 2.4 million residential subscribers who paid to see out-of-market games. But now the judge has overturned the jury's verdict, ruling that the testimony of two witnesses had flaws, a judge saying the jury did not follow instructions to exclude that testimony. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Google expanding its school time feature to phones and tablets. That means parents will be able to limit calls and messages during school and homework hours. The feature will roll out early next year. The Paris Olympics, Caleb Dressel missed gold in the men's 50-meter freestyle final, a race he expected to win. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
Everyone on the road is trying to make it to their destination safely. You can help by staying aware of the large trucks and buses around you. They take longer to stop, have large blind spots, and make wide turns that require caution from other drivers. It takes all of us working together to share the road safely. Learn more at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov. Paid for by FMCSA.
Koss Ag and Golden Harvest Seed in Kewanee remind you, the American farmer is one of our country's most vital assets. Without their hard work and dedication, our standard of living would be virtually impossible. Let's remember how this great country got started and salute our farmers, a dependable resource. This from Koss Ag and Golden Harvest Seed in Kewanee. See what Golden Harvest Seed can do for you. Call Todd at 920-255-3303, proudly supporting our area farmers.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News, your news roundup in quick podcast form. You can find it anywhere at the WGBW website, WGBW.fm.
Civic Media News, I'm Ella Saff. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. A Wisconsin fugitive at large for nearly 30 years is captured in Iowa. George Hartlerode was convicted of rape in rural Chippewa County in 1983. Hartlerode was taken into custody in June in West Des Moines after he was stopped by police for not having a rear reflector on his bicycle. A reminder to operate ATVs and UTVs safely. Here's Lisa Hale.
20 people have died in ATV or UTV crashes so far this year, according to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. 95% of fatal crash victims last year weren't wearing a helmet. The DNR urges operators and riders of vehicles to wear safety equipment. They also make clear that those born in or after 1988 must complete an ATV and UTV safety certification course to drive on public ATV and UTV trails.
And that's what you need to know. I'm Ella Saff, and this is Civic Media News.
The Packers prepare for family night. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Packers will be holding their family night practice tomorrow night inside a completely sold-out Lambeau Field. Jordan Morgan has been lining up at right guard and was asked, as the first-round pick out of Arizona, what does he think so far about what he's hearing about family night?
80,000, 1,000 fans, and I've never been to a stadium that big with that many fans, so for that to go on that night, I'm so excited to see that.
Edge rusher Rashawn Gary.
Man, every time you step in Lambeau, man, it's a blessing. So being able to have a practice in front of our fans, and that's going to give us a lot of energy to finish throughout the day.
On special teams, a bad day for kicker Anders Carlson, missing 3 out of 6, all going wide left again. Baseball, the Brewers and the Nationals tonight in D.C. Pat Murphy on starting Frankie Montas after 19 starts with the Reds before being traded to Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think a veteran coming in that can log some innings like that, very important for us, and we're excited to have it.
Was Sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Heat and humidity continues this weekend before cooler and less humid weather arrives next week. Clear and low in the mid-60s tonight. Sunny, hot, and humid in upper 80s for Saturday. Isolated showers and storms Sunday. High mid-80s, cooler 70s next week.
We're sitting at 84 degrees right now.
Crude and Dom.
Tune in to the next Devil's Advocates radio show. It's the Kamala Pixar Vice President edition. We'll introduce you to the candidate Devil.
Broadcasting live statewide from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay. This is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who hates shaking hands, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Nite Lite. Great to have you with me on this Friday night, a beautiful, beautiful summer night here in the state of summer, our beloved Wisconsin. Our question tonight is, what is your favorite beer? It is International Beer Day, and we are putting the feelers out. So far, I would say, do we have a winner? Would it be Spotted Cow, would you say, so far?
I think Spotted Cow would be is winning right now.
And it's International Beer Day, and yet all the Wisconsinites or people texting in even from out of state are saying Spotted Cow. So it could just be state beer night, but let us know what your favorite is. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. And we will read it on the radio. How exciting is that, ladies and gentlemen? This is exciting, too. John DeCosta is here. He's a comedian, Chicago-based, very funny guy. Had a long career in stand-up and done some TV and done radio. John, you were on WGN for quite a while in Chicago. Do you still, I know things have kind of changed there. We had Steve Cochran on the show on Monday. Yeah. Do you guys still collaborate there, or are you into different things?
No, the reason I was on GM was because of Steve. So I did stuff with him, I don't know, from like 98 to 2010 or something like this. But then they hired me in 2010 to be on Steve's show, a regular. Nice. And that was a blast. But it was all through Steve. We were let go. Steve was let go.
Right.
So I was let go back in, I think, 2019. Then we went to WLS for a couple of years, and they same thing. They put me on with him, and that was great. That was a lot of fun. And now we just do his podcast live from my office, which I'm sure you talked about. But I've known Steve and I go back about 30 years, so
wow.
I just did characters and goofy things. But it was always fun.
That's so fun. And there are some radio stations like here in Wisconsin that was KTI in Milwaukee. And in Chicago, when I was a kid, I remember listening to WLS and their Top 100, and obviously Wally Phillips at WGN. Must be cool to, I mean, and this is great. I mean, Civic Media is kind of a new operation. That's fun too, to be in on the ground floor, but like to be on the air at some of these older places where there's such history, that had to be a blast for you.
Yeah, it's surreal because I remember growing up as a kid listening to these stations, or my parents listening to these stations, and then I'm there. And even a couple of people, there's a guy from Chicago, a legend in Chicago, Orion Samuelson. Does that name ring a bell to you?
No, it does not.
Orion was like the Farm Report, and he had been with GM forever. And he would do an update on the show, and I would be an animal. I would be like the cow who won, the steer who won at the Illinois State Fair or something like that. And he would laugh hysterically. And I'm like, this is crazy. I grew
That's
up going to
great.
grade school listening to him, and I'm making him laugh. I mean, that's just nuts.
I love
It's a cool thing.
stuff like that when you find yourself kind of on your journey in whatever path of show business it is, and you meet your heroes or people that you have a great memory from listening to. That's just that's what it's all about. It's so great.
No question about it. It's just a lot of fun. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, John, where can people see you? You have any dates coming up? Are you coming to see us here in Wisconsin anytime soon?
I think, the closest I'll get is I'm going to be doing Kenosha, I think in December.
That's Wisconsin.
That's about it. As far as I don't have anything going up north of that.
Okay.
I was supposed to do a fundraiser in Marinette.
That booking fell through. I'm sorry I had to tell you under these circumstances, but
wow.
I have a funny story.
Okay, whatever.
Do you know Tom Clark, the comedian?
Oh, I love Tom Clark.
Tom Clark is hilarious. Yeah, Milwaukee comic. I booked him there this past February. He did the gig for me, and he and his wife Steph, who's a comic, very funny. She came too. She opened for Tom, and Tom went up. So we're hanging out after the show at this bar called the Shorecrest in Marinette, and Tim Cavanaugh and his wife Chris came up, and they were doing a gig at my old high school, a fundraiser. It's just one of those weird coincidences. I mean, Marinette's like 11,000 people, and both these two hilarious guys are in town on the same night. And I booked Tim at that high school gig 10 years ago and did it with him, and they kind of like circumvented Schwaba and reached out to him. So whatever, it's not a big deal, but
You're not bitter. You're not bitter.
No, the sole purpose I got this radio gig is so I could chastise them. But so we're hanging out. My son Joe is there. He's starting to kind of dabble and stand up. So he's just loving the comic thing. Tim and his wife are there, Steph and Tom. And Tom said, yeah, I saw Tim Cavanaugh's post on Facebook that he's in Marinette on the same day I am. And he goes, I'm like, did I get bumped?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, don't tell Pete. Don't tell Pete. We'll get Tim to do the show.
And that was the thing. Like Tom's like, he's like, God, I know of Pete. I don't really know him that well. Maybe he just bumped me. But Tom is so funny.
That is so funny. What are the odds that both of those in Marinette?
11, and it was
that's the night. Right?
Crazy, and it was so much fun.
Well, and I'm here to tell you, you're bumped from the next one. This is awkward.
You can't bump me from my own gig.
I feel bad now.
Okay, so Kenosha, what can you tell us about that? That's in December?
It's in December. It's just the Kenosha Comedy Club. They opened it up about 5 years ago.
Nice.
Which isn't bad. It's a nice little place. They're good people, and it's like a series. It's 2 one-nighters. It's the same place, but it's a comedy club where they're trying to make it. Okay. It's actually fun, and it's not far from Chicago. So my son now lives in Kenosha.
Oh, there you go.
My son and his wife moved up to Kenosha about a year ago. So not that it's that far. We see them all the time, but it's fun to do. Frank Carmichael, who put that together, and it's good. It's
Very cool.
Actually fun. It's actually good. There's nothing to it. So
do you have a favorite club, John, and a least favorite club?
Oh boy. Oh, that's a good one. I think my favorite club is Columbus, the Funny Bone in Columbus. Even though it's changed, the people, I don't know what it is. They're just very receptive, and they want to have a good time. And my least favorite club is also in Ohio, and that's Toledo.
Oh, boy. I don't know if it's the same one I did with Steve Seagren years ago, but that one was rough.
It is not. That one was bad, too. That was Connections or something?
I can't remember.
That was a Yoder thing? Was it a Yoder?
Maybe.
Yeah. This is the Funny Bone in Toledo, and it's the weirdest room. The setup is bad. It's just horrible. And I've avoided it the last 4. Actually, the pandemic saved me because Dave Stroop, who books all the bones, knows that I hate it. So he said, we don't have to put you there anymore. Oh, good. Oh, good.
That's lucky.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Steve,
those are my 2.
Every night we would go up at that club in Toledo, and Steve would dare me to say a phrase, and I would dare him to say a phrase. And he would say, I don't know if you guys know this, but the word on the street is, this town sucks. Right out of the gate. That's what he tells the crowd. It's like, people are very, provincial about their town. It's not the whole...
I did that with Jimmy Pardo. You know Jimmy Pardo.
Oh, sure.
And Marge Takas. Do you remember Marge?
Yeah.
So I was headlining. Pardo was middling, and she was hosting. And Jimmy came up with this idea that we were all going to wear these big Band-Aids on 2 fingers, all of us. And I started laughing. I go, well, here's the problem. You get away, she'll get away with it. They'll just figure there's a problem. With Jimmy, they'll be like, oh, that's weird. With me, they're going to be like, what is this?
Right.
So I'm like, okay, but we did it. We did it. It was like, I'll do it. What do I care?
It's like you all played whack-a-mole and somehow got your finger caught in the hole or something.
Right.
That's funny.
Right.
Oh, that's great.
I don't think I said anything. I don't think I said anything dirty. I never do. So right. But it was fun. And Pardo was in the back just laughing hysterically. And,
oh, that's funny.
With that
so, all right, last question for you, buddy. Then I'll let you get on with your Friday night. What is your career high point? What has John DeCoste done that made it all worth it?
Oh God!
Besides Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba, let's just take that off the table.
I know that's right. Yeah, I think this show probably. I was waiting for this. No, it's funny. This came up about a month ago, and I'm not kidding. I have success is different for everybody, right?
Right.
And I had I remember in 94, 95, they flew me out to L.A. to be in Living Color.
Oh, sweet.
I auditioned here, and I thought, okay. And I didn't get it. But there was another guy from Chicago who got it. And
who was that?
I swear to you, Jay Leggett. Does that name sound familiar?
Oh, yeah. I remember Jay, sure.
Yeah, he was on for, I think, one season.
Season.
But that was, I think my thing is the fact that, and Larry Reed and I talked about this, I never thought I could do this as a career, as a job.
Interesting.
The fact that I've been doing it this long, I have not had a day job since 1986.
How sweet is that?
That's the part that I still can't believe. And we put our son through college. We bought 4 homes. I mean, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
The only one who knows who I am now are you and your producer.
but there's like a fabulous Baker Boys element to that. That was their goal, right? Just not to have to. They just wanted to do what they wanted to do, and they didn't need a ton of money, but they got by and they made it work. And that there's something to be said for that. I think that's so great.
Yeah, I think there is, and I know I understand people would think, oh well, that's like spilt milk, right? You have to find the positive. But I'm telling you, never thought when I started this, if you would have told me, hey, by the way, you're going to be able to do this full time.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
All right.
So, yeah, that's the best part.
This interview has convinced me. I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to try to get you back in with the people in Marinette. No promises, John, but let's see what we can. Let's try to make it happen.
Do that when you're out.
I don't know. I've got some sources. I'll make a few phone calls.
Okay, good. All right.
Hey, this was fun, buddy. Thank you so much, John.
Oh, no, thank you for asking me. This is so much fun. Good to talk to you, Pete.
You too. Let's do it again. All right. Have a great weekend, bud.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks. That's John DeCoste. You could check him out in Kenosha in December. Conrad, take a memo. Let's try to promote that. Somebody else we just had on recently is doing Kenosha again soon, and we have our friends down there. We should try to reach out to them and see if we can help them make a go of that comedy club down there, because I've heard it's a good room, but I think it's relatively new. Hey, it is a bar band Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Barr will be here in just a few minutes to tell us about some new music and what is coming up on Max Inc. Radio. And we will read some more of your texts. What is your favorite beer? It is international, not national, not regional, International Beer Day. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had some great texts. I would say Spotted Cow is leading the pack. So much to cover tonight. It's Clown Week. We gave away our first prize, our Wisconsin Dells getaway from last night. Lots of stuff going on here at Nite Lite on a Friday night on the Civic Media Radio Network.
If we could fly away on wings to a place where all could be true, and the sky were blue, and the sky so blue.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home of Mino and the Mayor.
This is John Mino.
And I'm Jim Schmidt, and together we're Mino and the Mayor on the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM, weekday mornings.
As our audience grows, we're looking to find an experienced outside marketing professional to join our Civic Media team to work with local business owners who want to grow.
Not only does WGBW reach qualified radio listeners, we help business owners reach customers on their mobile phones, tablets, even on screens at the gas pump.
The person who joins our team needs to be as motivated as we are to bring great local radio to Green Bay and Northeast Wisconsin. Someone with a creative streak and no fear of introducing themselves and us to the Green Bay business community.
If you're listening to us now, imagine how many others are and how we can help business owners reach the customers they want to do business with.
To apply, email me directly. My name is Chris Morrow, Vice President of Sales. My email address is chris.moreau@civicmedia.com.
International Beer Day. What is your favorite beer? Let us know. Got some good ones. I would say Spotted Cow is leading the pack. Joe checks in on the text line on the 715, and he says, I'm a fan of Miller Lite and Blue Moon. Miller Lite. That's the first Miller Lite we've heard.
I'm not a big fan of Miller Lite.
I would assume if you don't like Miller High Life, you probably wouldn't like Miller Lite. I mean, they're kind of the same beer, right? Just with a few less calories, maybe.
Yeah. You know, one thing I remember about Miller Lite is when they do the Shamrock, shuffle in Milwaukee, they just put green food dye in Miller Lite. Be like, all right, this is $2 more.
Sucker. That's hilarious.
And I'd fall for it.
And you pay it. Are you Irish?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Bridget from the 818 says, Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy. That's not the first time we've heard Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy tonight. Yep. She says, refreshing and the epitome of summer. Very well stated, Bridget. That's a great one. I would say all these have been great. I'm going to stick with my Corona with a lime. Maybe a Modelo.
Yeah.
Just because I like the commercials. Honestly, that is advertising that works. Those commercials are so cool. And the music is great. Here's a weird thing. My daughter shows up today. She told me when she got home, she purchased a Polaroid one-step. Do you know what that is, Conrad?
Is that a camera?
Yeah.
Where you have to, put it on the rack or whatever?
You take the picture, and the photo comes out, and then it takes a minute for it to configure and all the pixels, or maybe they're not even pixels. It's an old-school camera, but my wife said she paid $125 for it. And I said to her, I go, sweetheart, look, first of all, she buys the stuff with her own money. That's great. But I'm like, you just bought an $1,100 phone with 9 cameras on it that kick the one-step's ass.
You can download a Polaroid app too.
I don't understand that. She's like, I just think it looks cool. I'm like, oh my gosh, I that's insane. But good for her. I mean, that's what she wants, and she's, very artistic. I'm sure she has some kind of creative thing she wants to do with it, but my gosh. Yeah, there's got to be an app for that, right? To make it look like a different...
There is, yeah.
A photo from a different era or something, but, I mean, it is cool. The picture comes out. You know what? I'm going to remind me to ask Terry Barr this. She's coming... Terry will be here in a few minutes. I'm going to ask her if she knows who created the Polaroid one-step. It's an interesting, it might not be who you suspect, but it is a rock and roller.
Maybe we can get him on the show.
That would be very cool. But that might be tough, but it's a pretty big guest. So I like that though. Let's remind me to ask Terry about that. She might know. You have a story about Hulk Hogan that I thought was interesting. I know how much you love Hulk.
I wouldn't say I love him. I was just, scrolling through Facebook and I see Fond du Lac Walmart posted saying Hulk Hogan is coming to Fond du Lac Walmart out of all places.
To shop?
to do a
He needs deodorant
signing,
or something, or he needs some new shorts.
I'm sure he'll do a little shopping too. You know,
I wouldn't say you're there.
Maybe he's going there because he's getting free stuff from Walmart. That's his appearance cost.
I would think so. He was at the Republican National Convention. He spoke. I did not listen. But my guess would be he's got some kind of deal with them, or he's just or he's shopping. But that's a big guess to fly into. And what was it, Fond du Lac?
Fond du Lac Walmart, yes.
Wow. You're kind of a wrestling fan, right?
I would say I was at one time.
What happened?
I just stopped watching it. I don't know.
Okay. Don't tell Rich LoCascio that. He will come at you fists a swinging.
When I was younger and I had the illusion that it was real.
Yeah.
And then
did you really think it was real though? Even when you were younger, did you really think it was real?
I did.
You must have been pretty young.
I was.
What if you watched it and your parents just sat there like, poor gullible Conrad? And you're like cheering like crazy.
That's pretty much how it went.
I think that's the way it went for a lot of people. I mean, I probably thought it was real too when I first.
My mom hated it.
Did she put the kibosh on it, or
she just? I don't know. She didn't like it because obviously she knew it was really fake.
Well, it's violent too.
It is violent, yeah. During that time too, not a lot of limits as much as it is now.
Right.
Know?
Yeah, exactly. We've a really fun show on Monday coming up, folks, too. At 7:35 on Monday, my friend Tom Ryan will be here. My favorite Tom Ryan joke. Are you ready for this? Tom Ryan started with a guy named Dan Whitney, who was Larry the Cable Guy. And they were part of the West Palm Beach comedy scene. Both great guys. And Tom has this very deadpan delivery, and he would say, I have fair skin. I'm Irish. I have very fair skin. I once got a really bad sunburn standing next to a guy with a bright future. Oh, God, I love it. So Tom will be here at 7:35 on Monday. And then we have a really exciting in-studio guest on Monday as well. From Ask Your Mother, Eric Rathsack and Adam Kraus will be here at 8:20 in studio. They always, have they been here once? I think they were only here once.
Yeah,
but that
they've
was
done
fun.
it,
Yeah, they're a really fun band to watch. And I know I think they won a Whammy this year. So they will be here, and we've got another Whammy winner coming up next week on Thursday night called Radio for Pets. They're a punk band, and they will be in the studio on Thursday. So batten down the hatch. Is that the phrase? I just saw Twisters. I should know that.
I don't know.
Here's another weird thing I thought that was crazy. I'm driving in Marinette today, and sometimes people, when they want to put the word out about something, like if there's a sign that says garage sale with an arrow, I go, okay, looks like there's a garage sale in that general direction. Ideally, if they really want people to show up, they put the address. But sometimes I just see garage, and there are a ton of garage sales in Marinette. I'm willing to bet my hometown is the garage sale capital of the world. And people lose their minds. Some people will follow you through the garage and give you the history of the items. That's Grandpa's old bathing suit. He had a lot of fun in that suit. Okay, let's stop right there, please. But they love their garage sales. So sometimes you see a garage sale sign. It'll say garage sale. They'll give you the address and an arrow pointing this way. 2 days ago, I'm driving. I'm at the corner of Shore Drive and Cleveland Avenue, if you know Marinette. I see a sign. It just says sale with an arrow. No address, not what type of sale, just sale with an arrow. So they want people to take a left and just keep their eyes peeled for big, big savings. You have to, like, what are you thinking? Give us some information. Is it a rummage sale, an estate sale, garage sale? Just sale. And it's in this direction. There's deals this way, folks. That's all we're going to tell you. You're on your own. But if you want big, big savings, turn left and keep your eyes open. Hey, this is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba. It is a Bar Band Friday. Terry Barr will be along shortly after our award-winning news team keeps you informed here at Civic Media. Having fun on a Friday. Great to have you with us. You can still get in on the fun. We will read your text on the radio. Text us about anything we're talking about. But the question of the night is, what is your favorite beer? It's International Beer Day. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Bring a friend, Join the crowd, whoever wanna come along. Word up, talk, just move right up the wall. Day or night, sky's the limit, so we dance to the breakdown. Ladies and gentlemen, I got the medicine, so you should keep your eyes on the ball. This is getting heavy, can you hear the bass? Boom, I'm ready. Levies, ceilings, honey, yeah, this bitch shaking like money.
Listening to the talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Devil's Advocates radio show.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. Vice President Kamala Harris has a majority from online delegate voting to be the Democratic presidential nominee, say Democratic Party leaders in a conference call the VP.
The tireless work of our delegates, our state leaders and staff has been pivotal in making this moment possible.
Harris's campaign hiring top advisors and strategists from the Obama campaigns, according to sources familiar. Because of higher tensions between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Iran, the Pentagon says it's moving a fighter jet squadron to the Middle East and will maintain an aircraft carrier in the region. Admitting the Trump rally shooting was a failure, the new acting head of the Secret Service, Ronald Rowe.
The sole responsibility of our agency is to make sure our protectees are never put in danger. We fell short of that in Butler.
Butler, Pennsylvania. Those at fault will be held accountable, he says. This is ABC News.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
Civic Media News, I'm Ella Saff. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Wisconsin's home energy rebates aim to make homes more energy efficient. The program launched Friday. Households in the program, sponsored by the U.S. Department of Energy, can save up to $14,000 for upgrades. The program should save people $1 billion a year and support 50,000 jobs. If there's a collector in your family, they may get 15 minutes of TV fame. Savannah Tomei Olson explains.
Listen up, especially if they're fans of the History Channel. The crew from American Pickers is headed to Wisconsin. However, they haven't planned their trip yet. They need to decide where to go. They're looking for people with extraordinary collections of antiques, which, if you've seen the show, sometimes looks like garages full of stuff or junkyards. If that sounds like someone in your life, they want to hear from you. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson.
And that's what you need to know. I'm Ella Saff, and this is Civic Media News.
This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
Civic Media News, I'm Ella Saff. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Wisconsin's home energy rebates aim to make homes more energy efficient. The program launched Friday. Households in the program, sponsored by the U.S. Department of Energy, can save up to $14,000 for upgrades. The program should save people $1 billion a year and support 50,000 jobs. If there's a collector in your family, they may get 15 minutes of TV fame. Savannah Tomei Olson explains.
Listen up, especially if they're fans of the History Channel. The crew from American Pickers is headed to Wisconsin. However, they haven't planned their trip yet. They need to decide where to go. They're looking for people with extraordinary collections of antiques, which, if you've seen the show, sometimes looks like garages full of stuff or junkyards. If that sounds like someone in your life, they want to hear from you. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson.
And that's what you need to know. I'm Ella Saff, and this is Civic Media News.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Heat and humidity continues this weekend before cooler and less humid weather arrives next week. Clear and low in the mid-60s tonight. Sunny, hot, and humid in upper 80s for Saturday. Isolated showers and storms Sunday. High mid-80s, cooler 70s next week. Right now it's 80.
In the market for a home loan? It's time to meet Kristen Ambos, the top 1% of loan originators in the U.S. and the #1 female loan officer in Wisconsin for 2 years running. With over 20 years experience, Kristen and Point Mortgage Corporation are here to serve all of your lending needs, from conventional to FHA, USDA, and VA loans. Plus, with their rate match guarantee, if they can't beat your pre-approved rate, they'll pay you $500. Call Kristen Ambos today at 920-606-1156 and let her and Point Mortgage make your home ownership dreams come true.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver.
and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Maggie Dawn.
Coming up, Maggie has an interview with the author of White Fragility.
That is our new music for our favorite segment of the week. And it's called Bar Band Friday Night. And who better to tell us about bar bands and really cool new bands and introduce us to new music than Terry Barr. Hi, Terry.
Hello. I love the music. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Do you know the band?
I didn't recognize it right off the bat. If I heard a little more, maybe, but tell me more.
It's the Bodines.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
well, now I really feel special.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Pete? And I got a chance to chat with Conrad while I was waiting to talk to you, and he's great as always.
He will talk your ear off, that kid Conrad, I'll tell you. He's the lovable producer known as Conrad. Glad you guys got to catch up. Thank you once again for joining us. You sacrificed part of your weekend evening to be here at Nite Lite, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Pete. It's worth it. It's fun to hang out with you guys.
You know what's fun is I've been listening to you do these great features here at Civic Media, and the one you have about the hamburger in Seymour. You said they couldn't get anybody to buy the round balls of beef. I was like, that's probably because that's what they were called. Hamburger.
Uh-huh.
You're going to sell a few more of those.
Yeah. I had a friend who is up north listening to one of the stations. I think it's the station out of Hayward.
Okay.
And he videotaped himself listening to it. And when he heard about the beef ball squished between the bread, he had to go crazy with that. So he sent me that from where he was visiting last night.
I was trying to take the mature approach when I heard that. It was tough not to address
yeah,
that.
he did not.
Well, that's what friends are for. Hey, Terry, our question of the night is, it's International Beer Day. Do you have a favorite beer?
I have become an IPA hazy girl. I don't have a favorite, only because depending upon where we are, I like to try that local area's beer. But I'll often ask for the IPA hazy.
I have never heard of it. Conrad, have you heard of that?
Yes, I have. I'm not a fan of IPAs, though.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't even know I kind of know what IPA means, but without getting too inside baseball here and cutting into the music time, I won't press that. But that's interesting. I love the name, though. That's a cool name.
Yeah. And we had a really good one recently in Green Bay, right down the river from you. They had a bunch on tap, but again, we asked, what is a local one? And they gave us their local beer. It was, again, the IPA hazy. Oh, it was so good.
Wow, nice. Oh, yeah. I love it. We often, Conrad and I, after the show, will often just kind of go along the river and look for new beer. We go by gondola, and it's lovely. You should join us.
Do you have a gondola driver? I don't know what they're called, but I assume. So neither of you have to, maneuver the gondola?
Well, we learned that the hard way. Those are, after a few pops, those are not easy to swing around. So we learned our lesson. But you're always welcome to join us up here in Green Bay. You know that, too.
Ooh, just be careful. One of these Fridays, I will be there.
I know. I hope so. I also, so last night I thought of you, too, because it was MTV launched this week, years and years ago. I want to say 83, 84. And our question, and we did a giveaway and everything. It was our first giveaway on our question of the night. But what is your favorite music video?
Ooh, yeah, this is probably silly. I remember coming back from dinner in college, and we would sit and go, "Oh, I'm going to watch one video." Well, one became 20, and all of a sudden you're looking at your watch going, "I didn't get any of my homework done. I'm so behind. Oh my gosh!" But I loved Mickey.
Oh, that was a fun one.
And just seeing some of these songs brought to life, I think it was great, but at the same time, then it kind of lost sometimes the meaning of the song for yourself because you had a picture in your head of what it meant, and then all of a sudden you see it on the screen, and you're like, "Oh, that's not what I was thinking," but whatever.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. And the song "Video Killed the Radio Star" was fortuitous, and that video I thought was kind of cool. But I like the Aha one where they were drawing. That was just a great video.
That is special. And can I tell you, I ended up loving MTV so much, even though I was really positioning myself to go into news to be a journalist, I did apply to MTV.
No kidding. Oh, wow.
Yeah, with a big old 3/4 tape, if you remember those. And I got a rejection letter, and I still have it somewhere.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, they were addictive.
But you know what? That's my claim to fame, or at least one of them.
Yeah. No, that was a fun time. You don't realize what you're living through when it's happening.
Yeah.
Then you look back and go, wow, that's, I was watching Ferris Bueller like a year ago. It was on TV when I was flipping around, and there was the scene in the background where they have the MTV logo and Mark Goodman's on or whatever. I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
quite the days.
Yeah. So let's get to it. You've got two bands again. I love this. I love when you bring us multiple bands. It's fun. And one of them is we're huge fans of, and they've been here several times. And I'm excited though because you brought a song I haven't heard yet. So tell us about 7,000 Apart.
Oh, 7,000 Apart. I know we all love them, and they tell me they love all of us right back.
That's great.
Wonderful duo based in both Green Bay and Sweden.
Yeah.
You probably heard the story, but it's the best story ever. Amelie comes from Sweden as a foreign exchange student to Green Bay, and she meets her future husband as high school students, and they form a band and fall in love. They're married now. Life is wonderful. They are playing Mile of Music all weekend in Appleton.
Oh, great.
So you could look them up and see them there. Otherwise, they have shows constantly. They play like 6 nights a week.
Yeah.
August, September, and after that, they go back to Stockholm, Sweden to work on their album. And they promise they will be back again in the spring. I love this. And part of the Started a Fire, the song is how they really want to help other young people with their mental health. And they want to come back and do a bunch of almost theater type plays based around this song and the new album they're working on, where they hope they could get into high schools across Wisconsin to talk to kids about mental health and why it's so important.
That's so great. They talked about that when they were here, and they played that song. Is that the song you want to do, or you want to do Lights Go Down? Do you have a preference?
I Started a Fire, I think, is so powerful.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll do that one. And this is, and the other thing that's cool is the name of their band, 7,000 Apart, is because they were 7,000 kilometers apart when she went back to Sweden, and he was like going to school in Kentucky or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a great story.
And
But
it
look-
all worked out, and they're together, and they are just kicking butt on the music business.
They are, and they're here tonight on Nite Lite. We're going to hear this is 7,000 Apart, Started a Fire.
I'm tired of being second best. I'm sick of the feeling when they choose someone else. I'm tired of knocking at this door that everyone's been at before. I started a fire, I'm gonna let it burn. I lit up a match, 'cause this is our turn. You've been leaving us out for too long. it's nowhere to go. Someday I hope you learn that this world isn't yours to own. I started a fire, I'm gonna let it burn. I lit up a match, 'cause this is so hard. You've been living us out for too long. You'll never let us in, so we'll just burn it all to the ground.
Isn't that a great song?
Oh, they're so good.
They're so, Terry, when they're here in the studio, when they perform, we've had them probably on 3 or 4 times. Emily will sit right next to me here, and then John will sit past her, and she is like, just, I love performers that feel it in their toes, and they are bringing it every time they sing a song. And that's how she is. She's in a chair, but she's moving and dancing and moving her hands, and he's into it, playing the guitar and doing background. They're so much fun.
Yeah. I feel something special is happening for them, and I feel like we are really lucky to be able to kind of watch all of this.
Totally agree with you. Are they, have they been on Max Inc.?
This is an interview that I just did that will be on Max Inc. this weekend. The only reason we can't get them on Max Inc. on a Saturday Night Live, because they're always playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they laugh because they said, Mino and the mayor wants us on at 8:30 in the morning. What? And they said, Pete's show is worked out for us because he's flexible. But then they said, your show too. No, we're playing on Saturday nights. There's no way.
Right.
So we worked around it just because we think they're really special.
We've had luck with them. I think we were on the air 2 weeks, Conrad? And then we just saw they were playing down the street, and I would just approach them. And they were so approachable. They said, we'd love to do it. So they came in, I think, on a Monday, and they were playing at Hagermeister Park right down the street here the next night.
Yeah.
And then we got lucky again, and they came in on a night off, and they, all of a sudden they've been here 4 times. They're so much fun and such nice people, and I love that part. And I love when they can work in the mental health part, too, because they both are big-time advocates of that. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yes.
All right, so we'll do the... there's another. I love this title. The name of this band, the Corn Potato String Band.
You got it.
Why don't you give us a little background? Then we'll do a quick thing, and we'll come back and we'll play that in the last segment because that's a great song too.
Corn Potato String Band is part of a wonderful festival this weekend at Lake Farm County Park in Madison. It's the Sugar Maple Music Festival. Basically focuses on Americana, Appalachian type folk music.
Okay.
And what I love about Corn Potato String Band, they are from across the Midwest, based in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. But yet they play this Appalachian music like they grew up with it.
Yeah, they sure. All right, so I thought we had more time. We're going to have to get a few more details right after this. Then we'll hear the Corn Potato String Band. It's a bar band Friday night. Terry Barr is here. We'll have more with Terry coming up next on Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Ain't this what dreams are made of? Ain't this what dreams are made of?
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home of Mino and the Mayor.
Hey there, it's Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute, and today I'm going to talk about how candy and beer helped me get good at money. I am not even kidding with this one. You may have heard me talk about having a money meeting with yourself. That's what I started doing when I turned my money life around, and it is still how I keep my life on track today. But back when I was starting out, I needed some motivation to show up to those meetings with myself. So I let myself have candy if it was the morning, and, one of my favorite beers if it was some time o'clock. Knowing that there's a treat coming if I sit down and look at how I'm doing with my money, that helped get me to the table. They're just little rewards. Swap in whatever it is that motivates you if it's not candy and beer, and schedule that money meeting with yourself if it's not something you're already doing. For more tips on saving more and spending less, check out Work Money Media on YouTube.
Rarely, or I would say maybe never, since Terry's been coming on the show, have we heard a band where we've heard words associated with the band like hoedown, hootenanny, rags, southern gospel. This is traditional American music, correct, Terry? Would that be the genre for the Corn Potato String Band, would you say?
That is absolutely correct. You've got your old-time fiddle, you got some banjo, and I love how they describe themselves as struggling, hard knocks, and we just couldn't fit into modern life.
And I love that you said fiddle and banjo, also the mandolin. I could hear the mandolin in everything. It's like my garlic of music. I never have enough garlic in food. I never have enough mandolin in music. So
there's something about it.
Yeah, it's great. And all right, so why don't we hear this song is called I Had But 50 Cents. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
Okay. This is Bar Band Friday Night. Terry Barr is here. Here is the second band. We get a twofer tonight. The Corn Potato String Band performing I Had But 50 Cents.
To a fancy ball, it was a social hop. We danced until the folks got out and waited till the music stopped. I took her to a restaurant, the finest on the street. She said she wasn't hungry, but boy, that gal could eat.
Well, what did she eat?
A dozen raw, a plate of slaw, a ham steak and a roast, some applesauce, asparagus, and soft-shell crabs on toast. A big box stew and taters too. Her appetite was immense. When she called for pie, I thought I'd die, 'cause I had but 50 cents.
What did she drink?
I'll tell you. A whiskey skin, a glass of gin, it made me shake with fear. A ginger pop with rum on top, a schooner then of beer. A glass of ale, a gin cocktail, she should have had more sense. When she called for more, I fell on the floor, 'cause I had but 50 clothes, he scratched my nose, he hit me on the jaw. Gave me a prized pair of black eyes and I fell on the floor. He grabbed me where my pants hung loose and threw me over the fence. Said, take my advice, don't try it twice if you only got 50 cents.
I had no idea Conrad could clog until that song came on, and the kid could not sit still.
Did he get up and do a little jig for you? And did you take any video?
He wanted to, I could tell. Conrad, am I right?
Yeah, definitely.
You got to move during that song. That's a great song. And the lyrics are great. I'm cracking up. I love it.
And you know what? We can all relate to it because
Yeah.
we've all been in that position, whether it was college or with your parents and you saw like your parents couldn't pay the bill. So the bartender's like, all right, I will write you a memo here. Come back and pay it tomorrow or whatever, you know?
She wanted pie, but I had but 50 cents. That's beautiful.
I know.
And I feel like I could almost hear the jug playing in there too. It was great.
Yeah. And that is happening all day tomorrow. It started tonight, happening all day tomorrow, once again, at the Sugar Maple Music Festival, Lake Farm County Park in Madison.
Wow.
Wherever you're listening, come on down because most of the bands actually don't really get started until 1 o'clock.
Oh, that sounds like fun. That is great. Terry, we got a text from someone watching on the stream. Craig Anthony Kennett says, Pete, I like me some Newcastle. That's his beer of choice. And he says, hi, Terry. He says, hi, Terry. He's a fan. And you guys know each other, right?
Yeah, we went to
I thought so.
high school together,
That's
and
right.
Craig is just such a fabulous artist. Wow.
Yeah, he came in the other night and he gave us a rundown from Comic-Con. It was really fun because he was out there for like 4 days.
Nice. It really is a small world, isn't
Yeah.
it? And sometimes that's a really good thing.
It's a small world, but as Stephen Wright once said, I wouldn't want to paint it. So I kind of see both sides of it. Terry, you're the best. Thank you so much. And
thanks, Pete and Conrad, and
so
everyone
great.
else for listening. Have a great weekend.
You two have a great show tomorrow and have fun tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, Terry Barr, Bar Band Friday, and Terry Barr always brings the goods. Conrad, are we able to download those? Because I like when she sends us music we can download and I can keep.
Yeah, you can
Not
definitely
just like sample. I feel like I should get a free song out of the gig, right? Or
Of
some
course.
swag to come. Okay, good. All right, very good. Terry's always so much fun. I'd like to thank her for being on the show tonight, and John DeCoste as well. We have rescheduled Brittany Merlot. We will talk to her about Twisters at some point next week. I know everybody loves when Brittany's on. Brittany's so great, and she's so much fun to talk to, so we will have her rescheduled. Tom Ryan is on Monday night, and Ask Your Mother is here in the studio. And, man, that 7,000 Apart song is phenomenal. I love it. You know what? Why don't you use the other one? We'll play ourselves off with the other song because that was great, too. That was called Lights Go Down, I believe, right?
Yeah, yep.
One of our favorite bands here at Nite Lite is 7,000 Apart. It's fun to hear their stuff tonight, too. So on behalf of Conrad and everybody, wherever you joined us from tonight, texters, always so much fun having you guys part of the show. And you just elevate us, and we have so much fun interacting with you guys. So we'll be back here next week to do it all again. Now we're on vacation the next week. We got to talk about that, too,
Yeah.
Conrad. I might just play Cheers episodes. We'll figure it out. All right. I'm Pete Schwaba. On behalf of Conrad, thank you for listening. Have a great weekend, everybody. Good night, Wisconsin.
Free, make something the world has never seen. With a guitar, a tiny car, 2,000 miles to play at a bar. Climbing to the top from a long way down. Singing to myself when nobody's around.